Welcome. This is the Road Project for Fadnis, Han, Manne, Pandey, and Zoo. We will be talking to you about the book, The American Dream, Marxism, the time period, and how all of these relate to each other.
The United States of America is well known for its capitalist economy. Capitalism is an economic system in which capital goods are owned by private individuals or businesses. These individuals and businesses control the production and selling of goods and services and also control the supply and demand in the general market. The government does not have control over these areas. Instead, the control is given to the individuals in the country to increase the amount of freedom. The American identity and the American dream are largely based on this capitalistic economy. In theory, capitalism allows all individuals an equal opportunity to achieve their goals. The American dream is the idea that if you work hard enough and put in enough time, you will be successful no matter what. However, this is not always the case, as expressed in the book The Road. McCarthy shows how sometimes individuals do not have that opportunity. In The Road, society has no identity, and the individuals in that society are forced to spend their whole life trying to survive on a day-to-day basis instead of being able to take time to relax and form their own identity. They are held down by the society that they are living in and do not have any opportunity to become successful, as there is no such thing as success in their society.
However, the book's setting is not in a capitalistic society but in a Marxist society. Marxism is an economic and social system based upon the political and economic theories of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Marxism is the antithesis of capitalism, an economic system based on the private ownership of the means of production and distribution of goods, characterized by a free competitive market and motivation by profit. Marxism is the system of socialism of which the dominant feature is public ownership of the means of production, distribution, and exchange. A proletariat or socialist revolution must spark, according to Marx, where the state, the means by which the ruling class forcibly maintains control over the other classes, is a dictatorship of the proletariat. A system of economic, social, and political philosophy based on ideas that view social change in terms of economic factors. Outdated class structures were supposed to be overthrown with revolution instead of being replaced through patient modification. Capitalism was removed by dictatorship of the workers, or the proletariat, called socialism, followed quickly and inevitably by a classist society which governs itself without a governing class or structure.
We picked Marxism because we felt that after reading the book, we were able to see a lot of the Marxist ideas portrayed by Cormac McCarthy throughout the book. We felt that, now that we know that what a Marxist society is, it's the opposite of capitalism. We can see that it exists throughout the book because the book is revolved around a class struggle, as no class is better than the others. While arguably there are cannibals are slightly better off, or some survivors have better tools. No, there is no class of survivors that are significantly better than the others. And the main characters themselves, the father and the son, they barely have anything, and they're forced to be scavengers. And their encounters with forces, which are the enemies, the bad guys, are intense, as the higher-ups tend to want to enslave or eat them, as in they're trying to take over the rest of the world. And in the book right now, they're past the capitalistic stage, which is what our society looks like right now, and we know that, and it's also symbolized by the Coca-Cola bottle, which is the last sliver of hope left from capitalist society. And they're currently in the primitive communism stage, which is everyone is a hunter-gatherer, which is the very early human stage. And in that hunter-gatherer society, it's classless, and there's no ownership beyond personal possessions, because there really is no time that people have for leisure activities and to build their wealth. No one is better than anyone else, and we know that the social revolution has failed because no class prevails over it after the apocalypse. There's no leadership, as in everyone is in small groups, just like the father and the son are, and we can see gangs throughout the book. And while there is some capitalism left over, as in you can see that through the father and the son, who sometimes have food, and they're willing to And the man's really reluctant to give up food, which is a symbol of wealth. And the cannibals keep people in their cellar, and the shopping cart is the only private property that the father and the son have. And we know that the good guys are the gatherers and the bad guys are the hunters, which shows the primitive communism throughout here. And we know that the boy wants to help the good guys, which is an example of tribal living, where there's no real class is defined. And tribal living is where you want to help other people with the same problems as you. No one is better off than anyone else. While the gangs may seem like they're better, in reality, they're all just trying to survive, just like the father and the son are.
The American Dream. It is the formation of an individual who is not tied down by the restraints of government. It is the individual who understands themselves as part of the whole that shapes the country into a people's republic. It is transcendent in human experience, but completely human in its aspiration. The belief that every American has the opportunity to succeed through hard work. America's purpose in World War II, according to FDR, was to preserve the American dream, which he described as freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, and freedom from fear. Now Ben Carson and Trump say it has to do with material wealth, like owning a nice home and business. Already, the generation immediately preceding the millennials is struggling. Men who are now in their 30s, the prime age for raising a family, earn less money than members of their father's generation did at the same age. In 1974, the median income for men in their 30s was about $40,000. That was using today's inflation-adjusted dollars. The figure for the men in their 30s now is $35,000.
The American Dream is seen in the book because the book revolves around a father and his son aiming to make it to the coast before the winter hits. And they put in all of this hard work to make it to the coast. However, even though that they made it to the coast, it can be argued that McCarthy believes that the American dream no longer exists, because while they did make it there, the situation did not get better. Sure, they found a boat, but in the end, the father still died, and the thieves were still there, and gangs were still there, so they were not any better off except for better weather. This book is set in the future. The house descriptions are similar to the one seen today, and the boy does not recognize the Coca-Cola bottle, but the man does, which shows that this has only been a few years after the fall of capitalism, as the Coca-Cola bottle resembles the last bit of capitalism left in society before the apocalypse. And a quote from the book is, "He withdrew his hand slowly and sat looking at a Coca-Cola. What is it, Papa? It's a treat for you. It's because I won't ever get to drink another one, isn't it?" On page 23 by Cormac McCarthy. So this really shows how the kid doesn't know anything, and the father literally says, the kid won't get to drink anymore, which is showing that capitalism has crashed, and that Marxism has taken over. The American dream relies on the people's belief that there is hope of a better future. It's why the immigrants sailed over from all over around the world just to come to America, because they believed that they had a chance at a better future. However, in the book, there is no more hope. And the mom even knows this because she kills herself. And a quote from the book from that to prove that is that it says, "The 100 nights they sat up arguing the pros and cons of self-destruction with the earnestness of philosophers chained to a madhouse wall."